Residents in northern counties continue picking up the mess left behind during last night's fast-moving storm.
Strong winds knocked down trees and knocked out power all across the area. We have team coverage on all this damage. Gerald Harris is in Spring this evening. Meteorologist Kim Castro near the Woodlands, and meteorologist Tim Pandages tracking the rain right now. But first, Gerald, how are things looking up in Spring?
Residents here are hoping things get back to normal as soon as possible. Many are dealing with major damage to their homes and cars. Take a look at this. Two trees split a home on Bayonne Drive in multiple places. Thankfully, no one was home when the large pine trees toppled over. Here's how a neighbor describes what he saw and heard as his family sought shelter.
When it was rolling in, you could start seeing transformers popping off, turning the sky green and blue and whatever color, and then as soon as the wind started coming out of nowhere, within 5 minutes, it felt like a tornado was coming through.
The trees also disrupted power lines, leaving folks without power for hours. However, some homeowners are using generators to get through the time, especially with the heat. But we have seen CenterPoint surveyors and linemen working to restore power. An important note from CenterPoint: if you see a down power line, they advise you to stay a safe distance away. In Spring, Gerald Harris, KHOU 11 News.
Take every precaution out there. Thank you, Gerald. Let's send it now over to Kim Castro. She's staged near the Woodlands.
Kim, tell us what you are seeing there.
Yeah, here at Timber Trail, you do a 360 recon and you see damage everywhere you look. A reminder as to the intensity and the dangers surrounding straight line winds. We're seeing a multitude of larger trees completely snapped, no shortage of branches on the ground, and damage to homes all along the street. Just check out that tree that took a significant portion of the front lawn grassy bed along with it on its way as it toppled down along this carport. Two cars parked underneath it just completely smashed. There are residents all along the street doing a multitude of cleanup efforts, from larger damage like this to just cleaning up tree branches so that crews can get by here and start working. CenterPoint Energy going from home to home, again trying to restore power. Now, one thing I will mention, neighbors are a little bit on edge because there's a lot of onlooker traffic coming by here, so just try and stay home and allow these people to clean up their homes. The damage, like I said, 70, 80, 90 mile an hour winds, guys. This is indicative, very in line with what an EF1 tornado would do. So this type of damage cannot be understated, and it's something we got to watch for very carefully. Tim, I know you're keeping a close eye on radar this afternoon.
Yeah, let's talk about those wind gusts, though, that you were mentioning, Kim. 97 mile per hour gust recorded at Bush Airport. That's the strongest wind gust ever recorded there. Spring 80 mile per hour wind gust, the Woodlands at 70. That's certainly strong enough to take down a lot of those big trees that Kim was just showing us. Out there right now, things are much quieter this evening. All the storm activity is well off to the east, but we do have a minor threat, a level 1 risk here, basically saying the atmosphere is capable of producing some strong storms with some gusty winds if they're able to develop, and modeling is not too suggestive on that occurring this evening. We should remain quiet for most of us right on through the overnight hours. Another risk comes our way tomorrow, but it's going to be another warmer day. Temperatures in the mid-90s before we creep back up into the triple digits. We'll talk about when that heat arrives and how long it stays this time around when I see you again in a few minutes. Len, Mia?
We'll see you then. Thank you, Tim. And we are tracking power outages across the area. On your left is the CenterPoint outage tracker. We can see there at least 74,000 people are still without power. CenterPoint tells us there was a peak of 324,000 outages last night. And on your right now, on the right-hand side of your screen, is the Entergy outage tracker. Right now, at least 6,000 people have no power. Entergy reported a peak of nearly 50,000 outages last night.
Remember, there are places to beat the heat if you do not have power. Take a look at your screen. All of the red dots on the map represent cooling centers in the Houston area, quite a few. They are open weekdays and on Saturdays, and if you need a ride to a cooling center, simply call 311. And there are cooling centers up in Montgomery County. They are open until 8 p.m. You can head to St. Simon and St. Jude Catholic Parish in the Woodlands, the West Montgomery County Community Center, that's in Magnolia, and the Lone Star Community Center off Lone Star Parkway. Also text the word HEAT to 713-526-1111. We'll send all the information on cooling centers right to your phone.